hardship that French people are suffering, but instead of dealing with those problems, he's using the veil issue to deflect attention away from that and to ratchet up votes on the ground, right? And I think Cameron did a similar thing with his speech in Munich last year.
Britain's trade unions have added their voice to opposing the English Defence League and far-right political organisations. They say communities should unite to fight to improve their lot as a whole, rather than blaming minorities.
They attempt to pose worker against worker. Instead of fighting around issues of unemployment or housing, they try and get our members to attack other members. In general, we find we're able to do that, deal with that at the workplace, because we can persuade our members that they need to be united in their battles on these issues and not allow themselves to be divided.
But far-right groups, including the EDL, also appear to be uniting under the banner of a new political force called the British Freedom Party, which could replace the British National Party as the traditional voice of the far right. It hasn't contested any elections yet, but when it does, it will provide a real test of British public opinion. Hassan Ghani, Press TV, London.
Massive rallies have been held across Europe in protest at a controversial international anti-counterfeiting treaty yet to be ratified. Protesters turned out in their tens of thousands in Denmark, Germany and France to voice their discontent. They hold that the treaty would lead to censorship and a loss of privacy on the internet. The Anti-Counterfeiting Trade Agreement, otherwise known as ACTA, seeks to set new international standards for dealing with copyright infringements. Several European countries, including Germany, the Netherlands and Poland, have already declared their refusal to approve the treaty in its current form. That would make it impossible for ACTA to be ratified, since it requires every European country to sign up, and possible for ACTA to be ratified, since it requires every European country to sign up and approve it. To Yemen now, where anti-regime protests continue despite this week's single-candidate presidential election. Abdrabbuh Mansur Hadi has been sworn in following the US-backed vote that many have called a mockery of democracy.
The new president has been elected in an uncontested vote with a turnout of around 50%. The US and its allies in the region all supported the single-candidate election and its inevitable outcome. The Saudi-backed regime in Sana'a was also content with the result and sought to exaggerate the turnout. The election was met with deadly violence and widespread boycotts. From the north to the south, opponents of the vote called on voters not to take part in the controversial election. A UK-trained army officer, the 65-year-old Hadi, was recently promoted to Field Marshal. He served as Saleh's vice president for 17 years and became acting president in November, when a Western-backed deal brokered by Saudi Arabia paved the way for Saleh's exit. The deal would offer the longtime dictator immunity from prosecution if he relinquished power in favor of his deputy. The appointment of Hadi as Yemen's new president officially makes Saleh the fourth Arab leader to be removed from power in more than a year of regional revolutions and uprisings. Since February last year, a large number of protesters have lost their lives in the Yemeni revolution, although international organizations and the United Nations never gave exact figures. This as they have focused on the unrest in Syria, updating their figures on a daily basis, numbers that many from inside Syria call highly exaggerated.
In Bahrain, people there have attended the funeral of a woman who died of tear gas inhalation fired by Saudi-backed forces. The mourners once again call for the ouster of the king and an end to the Al Khalifa regime. The 68-year-old woman died after regime forces fired tear gas at her house in Balad Qadim. She's one of the many killed in the Saudi-backed crackdown on demonstrators over the past year. This as anti-regime protesters blocked roads and set tyres on fire in a show of solidarity with a detained prominent rights activist. The campaign, dubbed Morning Sky 2, is to support jailed activist Abdul Hadi al-Khawaja, who's serving a life sentence. Khawaja has been on a hunger strike for 2 weeks. The February 14th Youth Coalition says the move is also in solidarity with Hussein al-Bakali, who was martyred during the revolution. Bahrain's revolution started in February last year. Since then, dozens of people have been killed and hundreds more arrested. In Iran, the Guardian Council has defended its decision to disqualify a number of parliamentary candidates, including 35 incumbent lawmakers.
The Guardian Council, which vets election candidates in Iran, says its decision to disqualify around 1,200 candidates for the 2nd of March parliamentary elections has had nothing to do with politics. According to the Guardian Council spokesman, around 70% of the candidates have been qualified by the council, and the number is still higher than those in the previous elections. Spokesman Kat Khodai told Press TV that 35 lawmakers at the current parliament were also disqualified, of which less than 5 were reportedly involved in a recent financial fraud case to the tune of $2.6 billion. The trial for the case is still ongoing and involves 32 defendants charged with involvement in taking bribes and financial corruption.
Humans are only fallible. Someday, even I might make a mistake and get disqualified by an authority. So this is not something out of the ordinary. The council evaluates the disqualification of candidates for each period, going through their work experiences and documents. Next time we might qualify even some of those who were disqualified this time around.
According to the council spokesman, the election campaigns are well underway, and those who break the election law could still face disqualification. Under the law, candidates wanting to run for elections have to register with the Interior Ministry and are subjected to a number of checks. If approved, they face the scrutiny of the Guardian Council.
The assessment of candidates for the Presidential Assembly of Experts and parliamentary elections are only valid for those events. Those who were disqualified can still apply for other positions. If a disqualified individual applies for another position or candidacy, he will be reassessed by the Council all over again.
More than 3,000 candidates are standing for election to the 290-seat parliament. According to the Interior Ministry, around 48 million people are eligible to vote, while the latest opinion polls estimate a turnout of around 60%. Qamar Naderi, Press TV, Tehran.
And Iran's National Institute of Genetic Engineering and Biotechnology is one of the leading biotech research centers in the region. The institute has invited university professors from 4 countries to discuss the latest achievements on stem cell cultivation in Iran. Press TV's Amir Mehdi Kazemi tells us more.
The National Institute of Genetic Engineering and Biotechnology of Iran is one of the biggest research centers in the Middle East. Established in 1988, the institute holds numerous international scientific workshops every year. In its latest seminar, the NIGEB has invited a group of university professors and researchers from Turkey, Iraq, Sudan, and Tajikistan to a workshop. This time, the topic is stem cell cultivation and its perspective in medical biotechnology.
I think this sort of workshop would be a great platform for our country to display its great progress in this novel field of science. One of the things that they are asking us to do for them is helping them to be updated about the current and state-of-the-art technology, specifically at the area of stem cell biology.
Iran has already taken considerable steps in the treatment of nerve, fertility, and diabetic disorders using stem cell technology. Biotech and genetic experts in this institute aim at applying their science and curing a wider scope of illnesses. The NIGEB says that organizing international workshops will create an opportunity for experts to exchange views and share their experiences.
It is very important for scientists in country neighbor to the Iran for exchange the information or for make cooperation and use the techniques or equipments in neighbor country, especially in this center, which is an advanced center for biotechnology and genetic engineering.
So far, what I have seen is they have a really good establishment and really great improvement. There is a memorandum of understanding both universities and this institution. So I'm coming up for the follow-up studies.
During the past 5 years, Iran has been able to place its name among the leading countries in the field of embryonic stem cell research. Since 2008, Iran's government has invested some $2.5 billion dedicated to stem cell research for a 5-year period. Iranian experts say that it is in places like this where the future of science in Iran is shaped. This is while the Iranian government considers particular fields such as biotech, stem cell and genetic research as priorities for the country. This is mainly due to the existing potentials and the progress made by Iranian experts in these fields. The National Institute of Genetic Engineering and Biotechnology of Iran says that one of its responsibilities is to share knowledge with similar research institutes in the region by holding numerous workshops every year. Amir Mehdi Kazemi, Press TV, Tehran.
That was the latest headlines here on Press TV News. More on our website, thepresstv.com. Thanks for watching.